freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So 4 candidates for mayor are on your airwaves, television airwaves at least. You got your Chico, you got your Preckwinkle, you got your Mendoza, you got your Daley. But there's another dozen candidates that are doing the candidate forums and social media and getting around the city. And again, in a field this crowded, in a race where maybe 15% of the vote gets you into the runoff to April, it does have the possibility that a surprise could be in the offing, particularly as the city is in such bad shape and people are looking for something qualitatively different. I think a lot of people are, thus the number of candidates, not to mention just the idea of an open seat for mayor in Chicago is something that happens once a millennia or so.
Yeah, once in our lifetime.
So we're trying to get as many of the candidates, all the candidates who are willing to come on the show to discuss the issues and their plans and their candidacy, give them some time to do that as we roll towards the February 26th primary. And next up on the list is Dorothy Brown. She is the longtime clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. I believe she was elected in 2000. And
yesterday she made news because James Allen, the Board of Election Commissioner, says that she needs to prove that the 12,500 signatures are legitimate. They ruled that thousands of the names she submitted were suddenly and mysteriously ruled invalid.
Well, that's where we start. Is Dorothy Brown going to make the ballot, which needs to be printed fairly soon because of this petition challenge? Dorothy Brown, Cook County Circuit Clerk, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So where does that petition challenge stand? How confident are you that you're going to survive that, rehabilitate the signatures you need to, and be on the ballot come February 26th?
Well, there'll be a status hearing on today, and we feel really good. A lot of great volunteers, and so we're going to. They had people that really don't understand how to read signatures and that sort of thing, because just some of their staff, people that they hired off the street, actually ruling on signatures that and how it looks. I mean, my signature has changed in the last 20 years. Sometimes most people haven't updated their voter registration cards, but they couldn't figure out if the person was registered. They printed their name, and they couldn't figure out if the signature was proper. So there's going to be a handwriting expert that's paid for by the Chicago Board of Election that will go back and review those things that people ruled that the signature was not genuine, even though the person was registered at that address.
But you turned in 25,000 signatures to get on the ballot. So how did this happen?
Absolutely. And so, the thing that I talked about yesterday is the fact that Cook County actually controls and has access to the Chicago Board of Election system because they're joint systems. And when my numbers started to change, that they added a new 2,000 objections at the last minute, almost 2,000, I would say it was 1,700, at the last minute, this past Monday, as a matter of fact, after we had been reviewing signatures for a month, I said that there's something awry with that, the potential for fraud. They should have restricted access immediately to Cook County when the county board president, who the technology department at Cook County reports to, became a candidate in this race. But that's what we're dealing with, the potential for fraud and that sort of thing. So, we're just moving forward, dealing with the issues and how we're going to, bring change to Chicago.
Yeah, I just one final note on the signature issue. I saw this online video from Neil, is it Seals Griffin? Is that his name? Sales Griffin, the entrepreneur, young guy, tech entrepreneur who's running for mayor. And he made the point, because he was the subject of a petition challenge too, that the checkers ruled his mom's signature invalid. And he's like, I'm pretty sure it was my mom who signed my petition. So you're
exactly.
It's a fair point.
To be honest with you, these people are connected. These people that they've hired, they're connected. They actually, were telling me that they were saying that people were telling them, oh, Dorothy Brown will be all right, even if you don't rule in her favor. And then one person indicated to me that Ricky Hendon from the Willie Wilson campaign, because, I have two challenges, actually said that he paid some people to put some bad signatures within my
that doesn't
within
sound
my
like
set of signatures.
that doesn't sound like
which is really
Hollywood
sad.
Hendon.
No,
No,
Ricky would never do
Hollywood
that.
Hendon. All right, so let's talk about your candidacy. Let's assume you'll be on the ballot. And so, what's the reason that Dorothy Brown is a candidate for mayor?
Well, the reason why I made the decision to run for mayor of the city of Chicago, because I just felt, and I continue to feel, that our educational system needs to be at a high quality. Education is my number one thing, because I feel that if we can properly educate all of our children, then they will have an alternative to crime. They'll be able to get good jobs. And so the education was my number one thing. And also I looked at the fact that, this city has been strangled whole by the political machine for far too long. And we need someone that is independent, like myself. I'm independent. I'm an independent Democrat. I'm unbought and I'm unbossed. And we need someone that has the background, experience, and the heart. I mean, this is not an oratorical competition. This is not a comedy routine. We had a lot of people doing that on last night. This is about someone that can actually manage this city and be fair and make sure that it's equitable to all of the citizens. I'm an attorney, and I can handle the legal lawmaking body of the city council. A lot of people do not realize that. I'm also a CPA and an MBA. Now, there are not many people who have passed the CPA exam and the bar exam. And so with my financial acumen, I can and lead the city into financial stability. And so I can handle the finances of the city. And then, of course, I feel that I have the heart. You can have the background and an experience, but if you don't have the heart to actually make sure that things are fair for everyone, then things will not get done properly for everyone. And so from the heart standpoint, I came from very humble beginnings. My mother was a cook and a domestic worker. My father was a laundry worker and a cotton farmer. And he took me and my 7 siblings to the cotton fields. And then I worked in a factory. See, I came from very humble beginnings, so I respect the least to the greatest. I came up very hard, and everything I've ever gotten, I had to earn it the hard way. So I know how to respect people. So that's why I want to put the hope back in the eyes of these young people that I see, for instance, hanging out on the streets of the West Side and looking at that economic development that hasn't changed since 1968. Yeah. And so it's a travesty. We can do better. We must shift the paradigm of how things are done here in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, last night you were at the forum, you and 13 other candidates. Toni Preckwinkle, a no-show. Do you also feel that she should step down because of her connection to Alderman Ed Burke?
Well, absolutely. And I think that she should actually withdraw her petition challenge to me, just given the fact that her office has the ability, has had the ability, and continue to have the ability to make changes to the petition challenge system that the city is using. I can't understand why they would not have understood that needed to be blocked, that there should have been a firewall put up between Cook County and the city of Chicago. They can make changes to each other's system. They started using a joint system in 2011. And so it's really, she's kind of our president. She hasn't done a good job there either, because she was the first county board president where we actually had to lay people off, where they had to go and probably file bankruptcy, lose their homes. Back in 2010, that was the first year, and I had been in office for 10 years at that point. I actually had to lay people off. I kind of was a president that could not figure it out. Then the sugar pop tax, just all those things that she's done and just really hasn't done very well. It's a smoke and mirrors administration.
You're, as you mentioned, CPA, MBA, attorney. So you understand balance sheets. You're a green eye shades person. So what do we do?
Haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, I'm very old. What
he's 90.
What do we do about $40 billion in unfunded pension liabilities? We got $1 billion balloon payment next year, and that's just to sort of maintain status quo, which is not maintainable for much longer. So what do we do about police and fire pensions?
Well, I say that, first of all, I'm not interested in amending the Constitution, to take away the right for people to be able to retire and be able to have and be in a position to take care of themselves. And so I'm going to, first of all, develop a long-term strategic plan for financial stability for the city as a whole in the long run, short-term and long-term. And then I want to evaluate the revenue streams that we already have in, because I feel that we're probably not actually collecting in the way that we should. We need to have better controls in place and ensure we actually are collecting the money that from the fees that we already have. And then I want to propose some new revenue streams. I have a proposal of actually having a city-sponsored lottery that is technology-based, whereby people can actually buy my lottery tickets anywhere in the world, and I feel that that would bring a significant amount of funds in. And it's a shorter-term fix than building a casino. I'm fine with building having a city casino where we are actually earning the funds. And I'm also fine with legalizing marijuana, but I think that we have to actually have some more creative ideas. I want to look at how other cities, even small and large cities, are raising funds as well, because we have to do everything that we can to stabilize and fund the pension for these for workers that have worked too hard, and we have to give them their health care back, those retirees their health care back.
Well, so the issue of the endemic corruption in the city of Chicago has been raised with an exclamation point with Ed Burke's indictment, and you and your office have been subject to some federal inquiries over your time as Cook County Circuit Court clerk as well. Address some of the questions about the ethical conduct of your office over the years that are certainly going to be re-raised as a candidate for mayor.
Yeah, Dan. So, it's interesting because when I read some of the information, I didn't know where that came from, but I finally, after 2 years, got some insight to that situation. And these were individuals that I fired when I first got in office from the prior administration. They actually came after me in 2004. And when I looked in it, and there was a newspaper article in 2004 where they talked about some kind of fundraising scheme and that sort of thing. And the same information was in some information I received from that I saw from the federal government. And I said, oh, these are the same individuals. They have been after me for a long time. And I actually called for the federal government to actually charge them with perjury. Anytime you tell an FBI agent an inaccuracy, that is actually perjury. You do not have to go before a grand jury. So all of those things are untrue. If I was taking the kind of money they were talking about, then I would probably not be trying to raise money or have the profit. I would have the money to actually have the campaign and I would be on television as well. I have no money, so they said I was taking funds for jobs. My jobs, my Shacklin jobs were actually, and they were Shacklin jobs. They actually are selected through the computer, and so it was just blatant lies and trying to find ways to change my administration.
And so as far as you know, you are not a target at present of any federal investigation, as far as you know.
I have not. They have not talked to me. I could have been the target because I was the person that these individuals were actually trying to go after.
But you've never spoken to the FBI.
I've never spoken to them, and I'm sure that they have found out by now that I did nothing wrong. They took my phone as well back in 2015 and gave it back, and they did not find any texts that were discriminatory. That's where people actually text information. They didn't find any emails that were discriminatory. They haven't taped me saying anything discriminatory that was illegal. And so I have operated at the highest of integrity. That's how my parents raised me, and that's how I would continue to do. People will come after you, but you have to fight, and that's the same fight I'm going to bring to the city of Chicago.
All right. She is Dorothy Brown. Dorothy, where can people get more information about your candidacy website?
DorothyForMayor.com. They can go on my website and see information concerning my positions. Like me on Facebook also, and what I've been doing, Dan and Amy, I've been doing a countdown every day or evening or later in the evening at night. I actually do a Facebook Live, and we've been doing a countdown. We'll do a countdown until February 26th for the election day, and we talked about what happened that day and different parts of my platform.
I'm
great.
I'm doing a countdown as well to my retirement in Naples, but it's a little bit different. Dorothy Brown.
He's tweeting it instead of Facebooking.
Candidate for mayor, clerk of circuit court, Cook County. Dorothy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you.
Always good to catch up, Dorothy. Thank you so much. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.